Welcome back to D1 Rejects, episode 77. We're creeping closer and closer. We're over 3/4 of the way to episode 100. We should do something special.
I'm so excited.
We should do something special.
We should wear our birthday suits on the episode 100.
Yeah, great idea.
That is Cade Manzo on the couch, not Kobe.
Look at him laying down like this.
Yeah, exactly.
This is a professional establishment. He's laying down like it's.
Tell him why I'm laying down, Jimmy.
Not anymore.
Oh yeah, Cade worked at 9 to 5 at Dunham's today, and he's
for the first time.
It wiped him out. It wiped him out. He's
ridiculous.
Back at tomorrow to serve my people.
But we've got a good episode for you today. Joining us is Nick Thomas, outside linebacker for the Ferris State Bulldogs. They're advancing to the national semifinal in Division II. We'll talk to him about Ferris. They're heading to their 4th straight Final Four for the Bulldogs. That's a big one for Coach Anise and his squad. On the NFL side of things, though, we're going to talk about Mr. Irrelevant and why you could make the argument that he is Mr. Relevant after last week's performance, building the perfect wide receiver, and then we have some new coaches for the Pro Bowl. And then obviously we can do some recapping of the games, some of the bigger, obviously that Tom Brady fourth quarter comeback, and then the Colts absolutely blowing what could have been a decent game against the Cowboys. We'll talk about all that in the NFL, and on the college football side of things, the Heisman finalists have been announced. So we'll overview them, take a look at the odds. Kind of seems like a one-horse race with 3 others lagging behind, if you look at the odds from MGM, Jimmy. But, it'll be interesting. We'll take a look at that one. But as always, you can watch this episode on YouTube. Don't forget, if you are watching, use those timestamps on the bottom there on the red line. You can fast forward to any part of the conversation that seems worth listening to and get the hell out. Otherwise, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, you name it. Follow us on Twitter at D1 Rejects, on Instagram at Division1 Rejects to see highlights from the show. And if you have an idea of what we should do for episode 100, please be so inclined to tell us. I think we could do something cool. Maybe a little giveaway. Be kind of fun. I don't know. Maybe we could get a little more audience.
Sweatshirt or something, like a raffle.
I was going to say, if we get our merch going here, we'll announce that soon, and then maybe we can get that going. But time will tell, fellas. Before we get to any of that, let's go to that conversation with Nick Thomas. Joining us on this episode, we've got a sophomore linebacker for the Ferris State Bulldogs. It's Nick Thomas. Nick, what's going on, man? Glad to get you on here.
I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
I like the sweatshirt there. What is it says football national championship or what?
Yeah, McKinney, Texas. Thought I'd bring it out.
Okay. I was gonna say you probably got a couple of those now. You got like a nice little bit of gear from the last couple of years or what?
Yeah, a little bit. The NCAA got us right after the national championship, but we don't get a ton of gear. But
I hear you. What about I remember watching that game, Valdosta, man, and you guys had been on a tear up to that point, but it's like it's the national championship. Like I know these guys got to give them a fight, and Bernhardt was just like running circles around those guys. I mean, that's like to be on the other side of that. Like, what was that like, dude? He was on a tear last year.
Yeah, I mean, if you watch any of his games, I mean, he kind of speaks for himself. He's just a dog. There's not really more to say about it. All around athlete. I mean, to come from lacrosse, national player lacrosse of the year, transferring to the Ferris State Division II and wins the national championship, leads the team. It's just, I mean, you could write a movie about it.
Yeah, I wouldn't actually doubt if they did like just that. It'd be pretty sweet. What was like? I want to know like from you guys. We haven't really had the chance to talk to a lot of guys from Ferris in the past. When he came into that locker room, not just to stay on him too long, but when he came into that locker room, was it well known that he was a dude right off the bat, or was there a little bit of a period where like he had to prove himself and go out there and get things done?
Oh, he definitely had to prove himself. I mean, starters.
Yeah.
Like he came in, COVID hit, right? So he kind of got lucky. He got an extra year to learn the offense. God blessed him.
That's
but,
true.
He couldn't throw the ball. Like he
hey, we saw that a few times.
And
but hey, he completed the big ones in a lot of moments too, though, which is crazy. But you saw some of those, man. And you're like, it's a good thing he can run.
He came in learning a new position. Hadn't played football in like 6 years or something. He said to come in, he gets a year to just perfect the quarterback spot in his own way. It was just impressive to see, and he stole the job. At first, nobody knew who he was. It was just awesome. Yeah, all around great guy. Nobody was like, man, too bad this kid's here. Everybody welcomed him, and it was awesome.
That's sweet, dude. But we'll leave that team in the past. You guys have a pretty good team this year too, and we can talk about you guys this year. Now let's get right into Grand Valley and really just building up to that game. Obviously, at your guys' place earlier in the year, You lose by 1 point. Number 1 versus number 2, probably the best Division II football game in years. I would imagine. I'm no like football historian, but talk about the environment of that one. You guys sold that place out. That place was rocking. And I know there was 13,000 people at Lubbers this past weekend, but I almost feel like at Taggart, it might have felt, you know what I mean? Just that proximity is so close. What's the difference between the two?
Oh, definitely. I mean, our stadium's a lot smaller. I think we had 12,500 people. It was just electric. It was great. We talk about it kind of last week when we were leading up to the rematch, and it was like we felt like we gave that game away towards the end there, and that all credit to them. They're a hard fought team, good ball club, and they fought it out and ended up being on top at the end of the game. But it was the fan base was great, only being 50 minutes away, 45 minutes away.
That's big.
They travel well, we travel well, and having both fan bases there just made it really feel like you were playing in a real big ball game.
Oh, that's huge. And that's what, I mean, we had talked to Abe Swanson just last week, and that's what he said. He was like, when he was at your place, man, those locker rooms are back to back. He was like, this is what you play for, right? These are the moments that you think about. And it's not like Michigan, Ohio State or something, like crazy, but it's our equivalent, man. Like those games are just chock full of insane athletes and big plays. And we saw that time and time again. But we're watching this weekend, and it felt like you guys just kept making plays to stay in the game. It felt like Grand Valley had so many opportunities to maybe add on one more score and, for lack of a better term, like put you guys away, but they were just never able to do it. How do you guys, it's defensively and offensively, it felt like every time you guys needed to make a big play, whether it was sustain a drive or defensively for you guys, make that big stop. Every step of the way, it's not luck, and I forget who said it, but great teams make their own luck, and I think you guys do a lot of that, and you stick around a lot of these games. What do you attribute that to?
It starts. All the dudes around here stay up the whole year. Only the young guys kind of go home for the summer and leave for breaks and whatnot. So I kind of attribute to that. We're around each other at all times. We're literally doing football all the time. It's a great place to be. Going to the game. Started out hot, blocked a punt, score.
Yeah, that was nuts.
It kind of seemed like it's, you don't know. You don't know which way we could go. We could either take that hot, kind of slow after that. We throw a pick. They come down in the 2-yard line, score. Now they're up going in, fourth quarter. And it's like, what, this could go both ways here, right?
Yeah.
And, defense, after the half, we kind of locked it down. They had 275 or 271 yards in the first half, which is very uncharacteristic for our defense. Second half, they had 70, 75 or whatever it was total offense in the second half, So they played a great first half. We played a good second half. Our offense ended up putting some real nice fourth down conversions, third down conversions together, stretching out some long drives to have good ball possession, and we ended up being on top. We kicked a good field goal, made a stop, but they're a good ball club. They play us hard every year, and we just end up being on top.
Yeah, that's been it, man. The anchor bone. That's been the measuring stick, and it's sweet. It's got a sweet ring to it. But you talked about it. That first half, they tried, and I shouldn't say tried. They did. They aired it out across the field, all over you guys. And there were a couple plays where those wide receivers showed that why they were super talented. Some highly taught guys coming out of high school. But the emphasis at half, something obviously changed. And for me, the biggest thing was you guys bent, but you never broke. Right. And I think that was probably a big emphasis from your coaches at halftime. But without getting into too much detail, what was that emphasis, or was just that kind of same sentiment when you went into the locker room?
Oh, yeah. No team goes play a game and expects to lose, right? We expected to win when we showed up there, and we knew we could win. And that was kind of the thing is like, hey, let's stop messing around here. Let's do what we got. And we ended up coming out. The atmosphere was crazy, everything. We cooled down a little bit, locked in, stopped with the mental mistakes, and we ended up locking it down. So,
yeah, that's huge. Now I got to ask, the touchdown run from Malik. He's diving over the line. You see the replay. Is he in on that, or is the ball loose?
Yeah, he's in.
Okay.
He won a game in.
Okay.
All he's got to do is cross the plane. Yeah, it is what it is. You don't have reviews, Division II.
Yeah.
It's all, we're not to the semifinal yet, so we start reviews this week. It is what it is. It could. I mean, there's calls that could go both ways. He doesn't score
100%.
there. We don't throw that pick. They don't score. We had a mental mistake on a fake field goal. Like there's, I mean, in every football game, there's plays that could go both ways. And we happen to be on top on that one. And they happen to be on top on a color, and we just finished on top.
And it's like that game, like you said, every time you guys meet, it feels like it's one play away from being bust open or one play away from sealing the deal in those last couple of minutes, which has been the last couple of times you guys have played. Now, for you playing on that defense, where it feels like every play, like this could be the one, and your defense generates, first of all, so many sacks, so many turnovers. I guess just how do you fit into your role and be really a role guy in that type of defense to make those plays when you're counted on?
I consider myself as a sacrifice of a defensive player, right? So I play Buck. You guys play the Bearcat as well.
Yeah, I was gonna say really similar scheme.
I'm not there to make a million sacks like Caleb is, right? You know, so I'm there, set the edge, do my job, and for our defense, like that's all it's about. Caleb's a fantastic. He's actually my roommate. I was just talking to him earlier.
That's awesome.
Yeah, he makes great plays. He's a fantastic football player, but not everybody can be, right? So everybody's got to do the role, and that's the big thing we emphasize: is you want to win national championships, or do you want to be the star dude, right?
Yeah.
And everybody's like, we want to win a national championship. So that's how it is. And from there, I think that's where we get a lot of our success and how we just kind of keep producing wins and wins.
Have you always had that type of buy-in from you guys, or did it take winning or I guess losing, I guess on the opposite side of things, to really get that from your guys? Or is that always, since you've been there, really been part of that culture?
Since I've been there, it's been that culture.
That's awesome.
I came here in 2020, and Tony Nese came, 10 years ago or so. And since then, you can tell the turnaround. So he's an amazing coach. He can get players to play, and it's just how it is around here.
Yeah, and I don't want to speculate like crazy, but I mean, we talk about it, and Caleb obviously has a chance to go play at the next level. We were saying shoot, what if he gets picked up in a fifth or a sixth round? Someone takes a chance on the guy. Look at a Judon comparison, who's putting together a Depoy worthy performance this year. Have you guys chatted about that at all?
Oh yeah, I mean, he's locked in right now. We're still in playoff football,
of course, yeah.
But yeah, he's talking to everybody he can, getting his thing going. I mean,
good.
All of our roommates' perspective, everybody on the team is, this dude's a ball player. Go get him a contract awesome. And let him play in the NFL. And I think he will. I think he will. He's a fantastic guy. I'd love to see it. Yeah, I really do.
That'd be sweet. Now talk about this weekend, the Argonauts. You guys played them in 2019, so you weren't there yet, correct? When that first match in the semifinals?
Nope.
Yeah. So, but obviously, you know about that. What have you seen on film of this West Florida team? We're going to talk about them in a little bit because I think their story is so interesting. They field their first football team in 2016, and they're the national runner-up in 2017, win the Natty in 2019 after taking down the Bulldogs. This program is very fresh on the map, but they already have 2 Gulf South championships, and they're on a roll this year. That win over Delta State really propelled them to a good position. So what have you seen on them without, like I said, going into too much detail?
Good ball team. Their quarterback is a big guy, run the ball well. He throws the ball. He's got a cannon on him. I mean, he throws every ball a million miles an hour. The running backs are real shifty. They can get up the hole, get through some space. Their defense isn't like the defenses in the GLIAC, but they're a good ball club. You can tell they've made it to the semifinal, the Final Four. Yeah. And like you said, that year in year, they've been proving that they're a good ball team. So, we respect them heavily as an opponent, just like we do any other team. So
yeah,
we're just going to go out there, play our game, and hopefully be on top. Just trust our coaching and our study, and we'll be all right.
Now I see the score, you're going to call it behind you there, but one downside of the playoffs, probably haven't been out to the blind at all this season, have you?
No, not much. I got a little bit of time. I hunted early bow season. I got to hunt, but okay. We don't get to leave for Thanksgiving break because we had a game and 2 days after, and I ended up getting to hunt. We got the afternoon off for Thanksgiving, and I got to hunt. I ended up shooting a doe on Thanksgiving Day. So that's kind of fun with a couple buddies. There's probably 20 guys on the football team that hunts, so we get a
good stuff.
Little group together and go.
Sweet, man. I'm excited. I'm excited for this weekend. I'll definitely be tuned in. I know you'll be pumped for that one, but just one game at a time for you guys right now. But like I said, I can't appreciate you coming on here. I can't say it enough. Seriously.
I appreciate it. Thanks so much.
Of course, man. Well, we'll be in touch. Best of luck to you guys, and like I said, we'll be following along. Thanks, Nick.
Thank you.
Good luck, bro.
See ya.
Appreciate it.
Fourth, Final Four for Ferris State football. Nick was a good dude. Like I said, really appreciate him coming on. And, I know he's got to defend his teammate, but Malik definitely fumbled over the goal line on that touchdown. Like,
I still
100%.
ain't even seen it.
Really? You haven't seen the clip?
I thought he was for sure, and when I saw it live and the replay, I was like, yeah.
You thought he was what? For sure? You thought he was for sure in. You said he's 5 yards into the end zone.
I know.
And then you got the replay up, and you, I don't know.
Exactly.
How about you put the mic in your face, huh?
Oh, my bad.
Jesus. But, yeah, let me tell you, saw that clip, saw the replay. He fumbled going over the plane. And that's one that GV guys are going to be pointing at for a while.
Wow.
Yeah, but
so
like,
it's
can
tough.
you?
It's tough. I mean, there's so many different plays that could have, been the deciding factor of that game. Like, you could make the argument, like, okay, if you want to win GV, maybe don't get a punt blocked on, like, the very first possession of the game. That was, like, a set the tone, especially for the away team. Come into Lubbers Stadium, go and set the tone right away. Block the punt for at, like, the 2-yard line, score on the very next play. So that was a huge turn for them. But we had talked about West Florida and their program. I rattled off some of those stats. Their first team in 2016, lost the Natty in 2017, won it in 2019. This is their 4th playoff appearance already. They only missed in 2018. And then 2020, obviously, we didn't have a season. So they already have 2 conference championships in the Gulf South. This team has, like, really intrigued me. And also, shout out the guys down there. Their media department is crazy. Media department down at West Florida. The Argonauts.
Props to the media team.
Real deal.
Are they good?
Like, photographer, their photographer is like one of the better than me.
Really?
Their photographer is. He's like more strictly photo, but like he is fantastic. Morgan Givens, he does a very good job on there. So shout out to him. I really enjoy watching their work. But do we want to start with Mr. Irrelevant, or would we like to go right to the Heisman finalists?
Let's talk about my boy Brock Purdy, Mr.
You want to talk about Brock? What did you see from Brock's showing?
So, obviously, I love like the efficiency. 25 or 37. Like a rookie, his first game he completed 25 passes in his first NFL game. Like, I mean, he went in the Saints game too, but they already kind of had the game in the bag.
Yeah, so I guess I should preface it by saying Jimmy G goes down in the first quarter. 49ers fans, especially now, they had to be heartbroken because it feels like the narrative around this 49ers team is that this is a real contender. Like, they're getting hot at the right time in the last stretch of the regular season, could really make a deep playoff run after the injury to Trey Lance. Now you lose Jimmy G, who, is a very conflicting story, but when he's on the field, the bottom line is they win games when Jimmy G is on the field. So little did they know they had a loaded weapon on the bench, that being Brock Purdy. Comes in, like you said, 25 for 37, 210 yards,
and 1 interception. Yeah.
2 tuds and a pick. There you go. You already had it. So
That's not a loaded weapon, bro.
Mr. Relevant, dude. Coming off the bench cold? I'd say so.
Bro,
You ever
got the
completed-
greatest mastermind calling the plays for you. And you throwing up.
And Christian
That's like-
McCaffrey and Debo Samuel
Like
and
that
George
offense
Kittle
is
and
crazy. And Brandon Ayuk, like that offense is crazy.
Hey,
So
Like,
hey,
it ain't.
But I'm
and the
just,
Dolphins
I'm
don't
just
have
trying to
like.
build him up. I'm not trying to tear him down.
No, I get that. We giving them.
Well, you're
the
tearing him down.
No, y'all giving them the same Mike White treatment. It ain't
Mike
no.
went through for 40
That's my
yards
job,
this
to
week.
overreact.
Lost, but-
It ain't no film. It ain't. You overreact. Oh, my bad. Brock Purdy, the next Tom Brady.
Thank you. That's all we needed.
there we
My
go.
bad. That's my
Talk
fault. I ain't know.
Talking and shows and podcasts would be so boring if it was all
I
just
thought he was
dead
being
truth
practical.
and honest.
I thought he was being. My bad. Yeah, Brock Purdy, man. You saw Shorty. He like.
Thank you.
You got a bigger arm than Josh Allen.
Thank you.
And then it didn't matter if he was playing the Dolphins or the 85 Bears. He was going to complete those 25 passes off the bench, cold. And Debo saying not even that good. He made him look that good.
he was loaded, dude.
All I'm gonna say, like, obviously, it's easy to say, like, this team's really good. Obviously, still takes a lot of skill to complete 25 passes, over 210 yards, 2 touchdowns. Like,
Yeah,
that's a good
against a defense
like,
that is not a shabby
serviceable.
defense.
It's
Yeah.
serviceable. You know what I mean? It's like, so.
I mean, they're also the best defense in the NFL.
No, but here's the thing. Now, do you trust this guy, or do you keep him in there, or do you go get somebody?
Well, who are
It
they gonna
sounds
get?
like they're going to trust Purdy because the rumor was that
Deadline's
Baker was
over.
going to be going to the Niners, but it feels like they're going to trust him. He knows the offense. He's been in that scheme. And I will say, too, 2 guys that have endorsed him right off the bat. Fred Warner came out and endorsed him publicly after that start. He said Basically, he knew he was that guy. Now, he probably didn't think he was going to be the starter for them. They had 2 quarterbacks ahead of him, but he knew going up against him in the scout team every day. He said that Brock Purdy had it, and he knew it. And so those guys go back and forth and jaw at each other in practice. Yeah. And I thought that's like a leader of your team right there, a cornerstone of your franchise, to come out and publicly say right after that. He didn't have to do that. So I thought that was pretty important and pretty telling. Now, as far as the 49ers and still being a contender, apparently Jimmy G might come back later in the season, and I don't know why.
Man, I hope so.
Yeah,
I hope so, man.
That'd be good. I don't know why this is showing the wrong thing here. Hold on. There it is. Nice. Now we can see. Jimmy G does not need foot surgery and could return in 7 to 8 weeks during playoffs if rehab goes well. Who said it, Ty?
Adam Schefter, Kobe's best friend.
Adam Schefter, Kobe, like, I wish y'all could understand, like, how much Kobe admire Adam Schefter.
He's got a picture of him in his
Shorty
room.
got a picture of Adam Schefter in his room.
I don't like Adam Schefter, and that's the joke. But that
He
is
don't
what
like
he's
him, you love him.
what he's reporting is that Garoppolo has a chance to return in 7 to 8 weeks. And if that's the case, where would the Niners be in 7 to 8 weeks? That's the question.
Depending on their schedule.
Yeah.
So what is it? 5 weeks of your season left, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
And then
Jesus, that
if-
would be
so-
I was saying, because it'd be like,
that'd be the divisional round of the conference championship.
that's
They're
what
gonna
I
win
was
the
thinking.
division. They're going to win the division. I mean, barring some like ridiculous.
agreed.
They could
amount of-
lose out.
I don't think they will.
They could.
I think it's
I
a
mean,
very
they could-
low probability
Yes.
of that
Okay.
happening.
Yeah, sure. So if you win the division, if they're the one or the wait, no, oh, that's right, because the format's changed. Only the 1 seed gets the first round. So
That
they're
is
not-
correct.
can't
They don't get a
the 1
bye.
seed. So they'll be in the wild card round for sure.
Because the Eagles, I'm assuming,
Yeah.
are ahead of the 1
Yeah.
seed. Let's talk about some other quarterback news from around the league. The Rams, they've claimed Baker Mayfield off waivers. Supposedly, they were the only team to place a claim on Baker Mayfield out of anyone in the league. When it felt like he was going to go to the 49ers, kind of seemed like the obvious fit with the Jimmy G injury. What do we think about Baker to L.A.?
I mean, they have nothing to lose. They don't have a draft pick.
Agreed.
So they want to win games.
That's true.
And it's not impossible.
Yeah, Baker's still not I wouldn't call him a terrible quarterback. You know what I mean?
He's a
obviously
bad quarterback, but he's
terrible
better
one-
than Bryce Perkins
What? Oh, that's their
No,
starter
actually,
right now?
Wolford started last
and
week.
Wolford. Yeah,
I was going to say, yeah,
Last
okay.
week, yeah.
but Perkins ended up going in the game. I think Wolford got hurt or something.
Did he?
Yeah, so
I would agree. He's better than whoever they've been putting out there on the field. And like you said, their draft pick goes to the Lions in the first round. So there's no advantage for them to just tank right now because you're only helping the Lions. So, and it was kind of a weird situation last week because they're playing the Seahawks. Seahawks obviously in front of the Lions in the playoff hunt right now. So as a Lions fan, it's a win-win, really, because the Seahawks are either losing and you're gaining a game up on them in the playoff hunt, or the Rams are losing and your draft stock just continues to get higher. And I was a little bit conflicted on who to root for in that one.
Is it a win-win though? Because I feel like if I'm a Lions fan, I want to win as many games as I can. I think a better draft pick to me as a Lions fan right now serves me nothing. I mean,
I would agree with that. I'd rather have a chance at a wild card than
exactly. Because
you get the
especially
third. You get
Lions.
the third pick, and you could get like CJ Stroud or Bryce Young because the Bears are gonna probably get like the second pick.
The Bears
Or
will,
Will
the
Anderson?
Bears will get Will Anderson and they'll trade down.
They're not gonna. Yeah, I was gonna say they're not drafting a quarterback.
Mhm.
So they get either trade down or say they pick Will Anderson.
Mhm.
You get like CJ Stroud or Bryce Young, whoever the Texans don't pick.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. Now, LA, they pick up the $1.3 million remainder of Baker's contract, which
I don't understand how they do that.
Yeah, I don't, whatever that is.
Salary
but
cap isn't real.
It really isn't, dude. People just play gymnastics around it all the time, and
Yeah,
I
like,
don't
it's
really
crazy.
understand. It's a made up number at this point.
They were like in the luxury tax, like crazy.
Yes.
And then they want to sign Bobby Wagner, and then Allen Rob. Like I don't.
How?
Yeah, it's not real.
It's not, and it's really like what everyone has said.
It's
Like
just there
they
for Madden.
really just put all of their chips into that team last year, and it paid off. So you really can't fault the business strategy. Now let's talk about Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson suffered a sprained PCL last week. That was the news. He's going to be out. He said he could miss. I shouldn't say he said, but they're saying he could miss 1 to 3 weeks. But the bigger news around Lamar Jackson doesn't really have anything to do with his injury, but rather where Lamar Jackson will end up after this year in Baltimore. And fellas, take a look at this tweet. Shout out World of Isaac for this one. But he says, Lamar to Detroit confirmed. And our internet sleuths all over Twitter here are going to LJ Era 8's Twitter. And here under the likes is the final score from the Lions game. And you're like, okay, that's not like enough evidence to say that Lamar is coming to Detroit, right? Can we agree on that? Like, he just liked the final score tweet. That's not really anything substantial. But then you look at, there are other examples, and supposedly fans caught Lamar Jackson riding scooters in downtown Detroit. And I'm not going to pull up the video here, but that was the word, is that Lamar Jackson was in downtown Detroit riding around scooters. He likes these pictures. And I will say the only thing that substantiates a lot of these claims is that Lamar actually said before the season, Detroit was one of the teams he'd be willing to go to in a trade or after his contract with a franchise tag was up, etc. What do we think?
If I'm Lamar,
LJ Era 8 in the Honolulu Blue.
I think the Lions' offense is way better than Baltimore's offense. He'd have a way better supporting cast in Detroit.
I think so.
Granted, the Ravens are a far better franchise than the Lions are.
I would 100% agree with just about everything you said.
And like
right there.
organizationally, I mean, obviously you gotta lean towards the Ravens too. But again, the
'cause
Lions are
haven't proven it
young,
yet, yeah.
exciting, and I think it's a great fit.
And
for
what are the
Lamar
Lions
Jackson. I think it's a great
missing
fit.
right now in their offense? Obviously, Jared Goff's coming off of a career
serviceable.
performance
He's
last week.
serviceable.
Serviceable is a great word, but this last performance, if you look at his stat line, like even Ty, you have to
31 for
acknowledge
41, 340, 2 touchdowns.
he was slinging that thing.
Yeah.
Say it again.
This is the Jaguars. 31 for 41.
Okay.
So it's a 75 completion percentage.
All right.
340 and 2
Uh-huh.
touchdowns. So that's like
You
10
realize
yards.
he played in the highest scoring Monday Night Football game of all time.
Yeah. 53-51.
I can guarantee you his stats from that game was probably better.
Yeah.
But
No,
I'm just
but
saying.
yeah,
Oh, you saying
as
that
a
was one
Lion,
of his
as a
better
Lion,
games?
as a
Oh,
Lion.
I'm like, bro,
As a
like,
Lion.
hold on.
I'm not-
I think Shirley threw for like 450 that game or something like that.
You're right, but I'm just saying that we thought we were getting a different Jared Goff. We didn't know we were getting that Jared Goff, and we really haven't. But I'm saying to really build off that point, what is this Lions offense missing right now? Because with Ben Johnson at the helm as the OC, he has really opened up a lot of possibilities. I mean, we saw Amon-Ra had 11 or 12 catches this last week, and it was just absolutely absurd performance. DJ Chark had a career day, for the Lions at least, in his young career at the Lions against his former team, revenge season for him. Then you've got a guy like J-Mo who is going to be coming up and making plays. Khalif Raymond is out there. I'm trying to think, but the praying mantis, like all these different things, like all these different pieces. The one piece they really are missing, I think, is mobility at the quarterback position, because you see Jared Goff get back there, and our protection has actually been pretty solid from the Lions offensive line. It's been remarkable, but there are obviously times where that breaks down, and Jared Goff has really struggled to elude, people coming in, pressure coming in those situations. So that seems like an obvious cry for a more mobile quarterback. He fits the bill.
Yeah. And I think, again, like that run game would be off the chain.
Oh my gosh.
Lamar Jackson, DeAndre Swift, and Jamal Williams.
Yeah. Swift finally came back into his own this last week too.
Like, I'm a DeAndre Swift fantasy owner. I'm currently 5-8. I'm on. Like, so it's an 8-man playoff. 8-man playoff.
Okay.
I'm right there. I'm not in the playoffs right now, but I have a decent amount of points. If Swift can just come through for me this week, I think I'm going to win the league. Because I have good enough players. Swift and Breece Hall are my running backs to start the year.
Oh.
So I mean, just.
I will say,
an abysmal running back room for me, but
the Lions staff said this is the healthiest that DeAndre Swift has been. So that was going into last week.
I need him, man. I need Swift.
They said that performance before the game, they had said this is the healthiest that Swift has been. So that, I believe, had a lot to do with his performance. The one thing that I've been definitely when I watch his game is like, just knowing situational football, right? Down and distance. There are times where you have a chance to go out there in open space, and Swift is very good at this and making people miss, and he's very elusive in that sense. But put your damn shoulder down. Like, just for once, like, you saw when he did that, I think it was a goal line run 2 weeks ago. He drove through 2 defenders, went all the way to the goal line. I think he was a couple inches short. But, like, that type of power.
Called him short,
exactly.
Against the Bills.
It was against the Bills. And, like, after that run, you're like, where has that been?
Hey.
Yeah, where has that been? And, like, don't get me wrong, we have Jamal Williams is much more of just a head down between the tackles. That's why he's leading the league in rushing touchdowns. But Swift has that capability too. So I'd like to see him tap into that more. What are you shaking your head at?
Because it's so when you as talented as DeAndre Swift is, it kind of it hurts you sometimes. Because
How so?
I find myself doing it all the time. You feel like you can always make a play.
Like bust the big one instead of just getting the 6 or 7.
It's easy to say, dang, you feel me? Just lower your shoulder. Why do that when if I break this one tackle right here, I'm gone. So it's hard. It's hard to be like.
He's a confident dude, and he should be. Like, he's
You
made those
feel
plays.
me?
He's bumped those plays before.
And that's what I like. I love DeAndre Swift. I'm starting to like fall in like love with his game and stuff like that because like I see a lot of what he do in me as far as when he fuck up. Because a lot of times I mess up, I'm missing holes and stuff. It's because I'm like, man, if I get this right here and I beat him, it's raps. I'm gone. Versus, you feel me? When Coach Shinzo's sitting there like, you just got to get it in there.
Yeah.
You just got to get it in there, Ty. You feel me? Sometimes, all right, I get it in there. And he'd be like, those are the runs we need. And then it's talent.
So I can
talent is a blessing and a curse.
I see both sides of it, and I understand what you're saying. For me, I guess my argument would just sit on the fact that it's more the situational part for me. Like 3rd and 2, that's not where you shake, right? That's where you fall forward and you make sure that ball goes over that line. For me, that's...
But to me, though, that's coaching, though.
You think so?
Yeah, because you got some... DeAndre Swift is all of 190, 200 pounds. You got Jamal Williams. He don't want to do nothing but run his head into a wall anyways.
Yeah, but I think that's part of the obvious thing is that when, Williams goes and Jamal goes in there, he was on a kind of a pitch count too this weekend, which is kind of interesting. But when he goes in there, they know that's what they're going to expect from him. I think DeAndre Swift can have that part to his game. You may as well use it because that just makes him such a more multifaceted back. He's obviously such a threat out of the backfield catching routes. We know he's good on the interior run game too, and especially when he has a hole to work with, right? And he gets to that second level. But I think if he can unlock that other part of his game too, there's no area where I could really see him being faulty as a running back.
Nah, that ain't gonna never be a part of his game. He's just too little. Like 5'9", like 190, 200. Like that ain't where you want to use him. You shouldn't be used. That's why he hurt now. It's not where you should be using him. Like in between attack, 3rd and 2, go give me this first down.
Yeah.
Like it get to a point where like,
no, I agree.
You're running back that good, but that's why you got Jamal Williams.
Yep.
So that's why I say like it's easy to say like, oh, put your foot in the ground. That's not his game, and that's why he hurt in the first place. And he like tore up too, like his ankle all messed up, his shoulder off.
I'm
like,
saying he's dealt with like 3 or 4 different.
He tore up. He really shouldn't have been playing, in my opinion. And as much as they was like, he wasn't even touching the ball for real. He's barely playing it. They should have just held him out and let him get healthy. But I feel like that go down to more coaching to me because he a little guy.
Yeah.
So he'd be like, it's 3rd and 2, man. We need you to put your foot in there and get for what? When you got folks who don't get tired over here doing backflips every time he score, and you want me to run in there? I can't even sleep on the right side of my body at night.
Gosh. That's funny. No, that's good. It makes sense. It makes sense. Jimmy, you had something?
Yeah, so a couple things here. So talking about like DeAndre Swift's kind of like game. His last name is like perfect for his game. Swift. like he's just a swift runner. That's what he is. So
sure.
That's just perfect right there. It sets it perfectly. And the way Jamal Williams and Swift complement each other, like it kind of gives me a headache because like I'm a Swift owner. Every time Jamal Williams scores a touchdown, I'm like, oh, that should be Swift.
Yeah.
But I mean,
like Ty just said, that's what he's made for.
This tandem is incredible. And then now we're talking about earlier, if you throw Lamar in there, it's like the Lions would have one of the best offenses in the league.
I didn't even get to say it. It's not feasible for Lamar to even get to Detroit.
Why?
Baltimore is not going to let him walk.
I don't think so either.
They would franchise tag him, and then if it got when it all come down to where it needs to go, they're going to break the bank for him.
So
they should. They should.
They 100% should, but they haven't, which is what gives me hope. And now
because they still got time.
Is this year the last year of his deal, or is he franchise tagged already?
No, this is the last year of his deal. They're going to do nothing but franchise tag him next year.
I see.
No, you can't.
You have to take it.
Yeah, like you got to sign it. Like
he'll still make a decent amount of money in the franchise tag.
He'll make a lot of money.
It's just not guaranteed, and it's not like long term.
Yeah, it's not
That's
long term. That you feel me? And I feel like it's to the point where like the Detroit Lions, they have to draft a quarterback this year. Unless you're gonna trade for Lamar Jackson and trade the pick. That's the only way they're gonna get Lamar Jackson. If they trade the pick and they trade it to Baltimore, so Baltimore can draft their next quarterback.
That's definitely where everyone sees it kind of heading, right? Is that direction with the quarterback.
Like, there's no way he's gonna hit the free agency. Like Lamar Jackson has never touched free agency in his life. I don't know. I can't say that because I don't know how many times you can franchise tag. I don't know how many times you can franchise tag somebody. I mean, let's see. Not as long as he's an upper echelon quarterback. It'll never happen.
I mean, look, Tom Brady is a free agent.
Tom Brady was 45.
Okay, again, I'm just saying. You said never, ever.
He was 45.
I'm playing devil's advocate.
I think we can agree that Lamar will probably not be playing until he's 45. I would
just because of
assume.
his style of play.
Exactly.
Right. So he'll never, not while he's an upper echelon quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
Like you could see like Brady, like, you feel me? Brady not Brady for real, but he's still Tom Brady.
He still play, yeah.
In a sense. You feel me? But he not what he used to be. And that relationship, it sizzled out. He only had 2 suitors, Miami and Tampa Bay.
Yeah, you're right. But we can talk about two other guys that have made quite a name for themselves in the NFL world of quarterbacking. That is Peyton and Eli Manning. These two are going to be the head coaches in this year's Pro Bowl. Peyton will coach the AFC. Eli will coach the NFC. And fellas, we've talked a little bit about the ways in which they could spice up this Pro Bowl, all right? Because the Pro Bowl historically has been almost just a bit of a joke, a bit of a publicity stunt. Like, I don't really understand why the game itself is even played so far, to be honest. I remember watching a while back, we watched like some of the skill competitions and those type of things. They still do a lot of those too.
I thought they weren't playing the game no more.
See, I thought so too, but here we are.
I thought they came out and said they weren't playing the game no more.
And now they announced that they're going to be coaching. So are they just coaching the skill competitions?
Yeah, I don't know, because I thought they came out and said they were literally not going to play the game anymore.
You want to check for me? Because I thought so too. I thought they were totally going to be scrapped, because I remember watching the skill competitions. We remember watching, like, we had the bench press up here. We had like the long ball competition for the quarterbacks. Like some of the stuff we don't do anymore. Like that stuff was electric. Like let's get some of these physical freaks out here, like these just beasts of nature, and see how many times they can move this bar up and down. How far can he throw this piece of leather?
Exactly. I would also just love to see like the distance football throwing. Like, imagine seeing like Mahomes and Josh Allen going at it, like throwing it like 86 yards.
Yes.
Like, are you kidding me?
I would pay to.
I bet you with the wind at their back, I bet you one of them could throw 100 yards. If there was a crazy wind, if there was crazy wind, like remember there's one day at practice in particular, it was outside. Remember one of the last like practices of the year, but it was like warm out. It was like super windy, and we were all just like chucking it. The ball was flying through.
Yeah.
Like if you get like 30-mile-an-hour winds, I bet you one of them get 100. One of them get 100.
30. I mean, yeah, 30 for sure.
One of them get 100.
You had it
100 yards.
The NFL replaces the Pro Bowl with the Pro Bowl games, including skills competitions and a flag football game.
That makes more sense. So there you go. We have the flag football game. So that's why they'll be the coaches. Yep. There you go. So Eli and Peyton going to be the coaches for that.
Fun.
They go from broadcasting. They're doing their Omaha Productions thing on, what is that, Thursday Night Football usually? Monday Night Football. My bad. Monday Night Football.
ESPN
Thank you.
2, baby.
Yep. Those are great. But now they'll be going and coaching a little flag football, little skill competition action.
There's no way that two brothers could ever get into a fight or anything. So
I don't think so.
Like,
I don't see any.
They'll be
possibility.
brothers are not competitive or yell at each other or anything. So
Jimmy, what are you talking about, bro? We just my bad.
We can move on though, and we'll talk about Golden Tate, and not in the sense of his playing days or his career, but he was asked about what made the perfect wide receiver in his eyes. Yeah, Jimmy, go ahead and get right up and close for that one. So this is the perfect wide receiver in the eyes of Golden Tate, and I'll just read out some of the people for the people who are listening here. What's that? That is something that I wanted to talk about. So, okay, from the top, hold on, I can't hear your tube bell right now, but from the top, we have the mentality. We have the mentality of Stephon Diggs. We have the intelligence of Cooper Kupp, the catch radius of DeAndre Hopkins, the hands of A.J. Brown, the speed of Tyreek Hill, the route running of Keenan Allen, and the releases of Devontae Adams and the body type of DK Metcalf. I agree with a lot of these picks, but that was something that jumped out to me right away as well.
I think Justin Jefferson has way better hands than A.J. Brown.
Yeah? I think I would agree, especially after watching that catch against the Bills.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
And on Thursday Night Football on Thanksgiving, he made like 3 ridiculous downfield contested catches.
Yeah, especially considering this graphic, I believe, was made before even this last week, where A.J. Brown actually had a pretty great coming out performance. Yeah. You know what I mean? Against his old team. Actually got the GM of his former team fired, which was hilarious.
He did.
Yeah, so that John Robinson, I believe, the GM, or former GM of the Titans.
They're 3 games ahead of everybody in the division.
And then now is just the time to get rid of your general manager.
Bizarre timing to fire your GM.
It is, but this was made even before then, and you're still going to pick the hands of A.J. Brown, not to discredit him at all, but I would agree with you. I think he's got better hands than his Eagles counterpart.
A.J. Brown can fit in here somewhere, but I just think, like, I don't know why you don't go with Jefferson. I mean,
yeah, what else jumps out to you?
How do you not throw him in, like, the perfect receiver? Like,
yeah, like he's arguably the best receiver in the league right now.
Yeah, I think it's Adams and Jefferson.
Yep.
1A and 1B. Like, it's just like they're.
Yeah. Ty, you've been uncharacteristically quiet about this graphic. What are you seeing?
I don't know where Justin Jefferson's just a really good football player, but I don't know where he would fit in here. Because even best hands, I would get out to DeAndre Hopkins over.
But he have catch radius, so it's like.
Yeah, I would kind of err on the side of that too. That's what that would have been
I would
my
take
pick.
Mike Evans' hands over A.J. Brown and Justin Jefferson.
Okay.
Like Justin Jefferson is a hell of a football player, but it's like, where would you, like,
jack of all trades, master of none.
He not necessarily the best at anything. Other than just being like,
I'm gonna say he just puts it
one
all
of the
together.
best, you
yeah,
feel me?
Yeah,
like this.
not a bad
Like
argument.
I mean, it really don't get like any better than this. I mean,
It's-
I love that they
it's
give.
good.
I love that they give the
I would say-
intelligence.
I would
to
say
Cooper Kupp.
Mike Evans like catch radius, or like in DeAndre Hopkins' hands, because DeAndre Hopkins still got the best hands in the league.
I agree with that. Now, my saying is the intelligence thing for Cooper Kupp.
Or no,
For
Mike
me-
Williams catch radius.
Mike Williams catch
Yeah.
radius. That's not a
Big
bad
Mike,
pick.
Big
That's
Mike.
not a
Mike
bad
Williams
pick.
catch radius,
Big
and then
Mike is
DeAndre
what
Hopkins'
that-
hands. That's the only thing I would change.
I
That's
like
the only
those
thing
picks.
You should change.
I like those picks. I thought it was funny that Cooper Kupp was given the intelligence portion of this graphic because I think he's in a very similar category to Jefferson. Not in the status of receiver, but like especially coming off last year where he had the triple crown in receiving. He didn't do anything like you said, any one part of his game that was extraordinary. I think he's a fantastic route runner, but obviously, in this situation, you're giving that to Keenan Allen, which is, I think, a pretty good choice.
I would give Amari Cooper the route runner.
You
Or
would
Tyreek Hill.
over
Or Calvin
both
Ridley.
of them over.
I would
Keenan
actually
Allen?
take Calvin Ridley route running.
Would you really?
People forget about
Yes.
Ridley, yeah.
That's a fair point.
He's really good.
But I kind of felt that he almost fit into a similar situation with Jefferson in that they felt like they probably needed, or I say they, Golden Tate probably felt like he needed to put Cooper Kupp somewhere in this graphic, and he said, give him the intelligence.
Yeah, because he is very good. I mean, I saw
Yeah,
this,
very
like,
cerebral player.
It's just like he walks out there and he's like making pre-snap reads like a quarterback would. Like I've seen like these little like clips of him or whatever. Like,
That's pretty cool.
I don't know, yeah.
Anything else to highlight on it before we move on?
I don't know, man. That's hard because you got like so many good receivers, and it's like hard to be like, I want this from this guy, this from this guy.
I always say it's hard to make like a quote unquote perfect list, right?
Yeah. It's impossible.
It's not
'Cause
easy.
Everyone's gonna be like, "Oh, let's read this guy here, this guy there." It's like, you know what I mean?
100%. So now we can move on and talk about the Heisman finalists. They've been officially released, and I will pull the graphic up here of these guys. But the 4 Heisman finalists, first of all, you've got Stetson Bennett, then you've got Max Duggan, CJ Stroud, and Caleb Williams, quarterbacks for Georgia, TCU, Ohio State, and USC. Well, the USC claim has been a little bit disputed here. South Carolina's making a run for it, but the traditional USC, Caleb Williams. So those are your finalists, all quarterbacks, which has become pretty typical of the award. Who is our frontrunner right now? It seems to be that Caleb Williams has kind of pulled a lot of the fans and the betting his way.
Yeah, I really don't think there's no one that's good. He's okay. The best player in college football is Will Anderson, but I think the best quarterback, because it's a quarterback award, is Caleb Williams.
Hasn't been much talk about Will Anderson this year, at least not as much as there was last year.
SEC unanimous player of the year this year, defensive player of the year.
Did he?
Unanimously? I think I just saw that. Like,
Yeah, Will Anderson should have been a Heisman finalist.
there's no reason why he shouldn't.
Hendon Hooker should have been a Heisman
Yeah,
finalist.
That is what I wanted to talk about,
He
too,
only
is
played
who's
10
getting
games, though.
snubbed.
Yeah.
So that was my next question, is who's getting snubbed? And on my list right here, Hendon Hooker was number 1 because I felt he played in a way that deserved for him to at least be a finalist. Now, with his untimely injury, you could it'd be a hard case to give him the award, but I felt
he should
that
have been a finalist.
Agreed. I felt that he 100% deserved to be one of the 4 finalists.
Max Duggan and Stetson Bennett.
Yeah.
He should have
I
been
would
in
agree.
before both of them.
I would 100% agree with that
Max
statement.
Duggan had a solid year for sure, and
I have to look at Bennett's numbers. I gotta look at Bennett's
TCU,
numbers.
like, you feel me? They had a really good season, so you almost got to in a sense, but like, I feel like Stetson Bennett only there because Georgia went undefeated.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
yeah.
And I mean, I can understand. I can understand. Like
reasonable.
he's
Yeah.
played really good football, and his team has not lost a game. He's the face of the best team in college football right now, so I can at least understand it. But like you said, is he the most valuable player in college football?
no, he's not a Heisman finalist. He
I
could have
would
been a
100% agree with
Maxwell.
that.
He could have been a Maxwell or an O'Brien, but not the Heisman.
So he has. These are just stats. So he 20 touchdowns, 6 picks, 86.3 QBR, which is the 6th best in the country.
Mm-hmm.
3,400 passing yards, and he's 13-0 or 12-0. I think he's worthy of the finalist. He's not going to win the award.
No, I would agree.
I think, but here's the thing: are you looking at that thing? Oh, Stetson Bennett shouldn't be a Heisman finalist.
I'm saying Stetson Bennett shouldn't have been a Heisman finalist.
I'm saying I don't think that he doesn't.
That's tough.
I don't think that he does not deserve it. I think Hendon Hooker deserves it more than he deserves it, if that makes any sense. I think that he's deserving to be a finalist and be in this position. I think Hendon Hooker and what he did for that Tennessee team has him in a position where he was more deserving
But
to
John
make that
Robinson
trip and
should have
do
been a
that.
Heisman finalist. Hendon Hooker and Will Anderson all over Stetson Bennett.
Blake Corum has not been mentioned by any of us. That's
No,
someone who I
that's-
thought that you guys
Corum.
might bring up. Is that someone that a lot of people have
there
thought
was
might have
some
been
kid.
snubbed?
There was some kid at
would
Incarnate
never.
Word. There's a kid at Incarnate Word. I forgot his name, but RG talks about it all the time. He threw 50 touchdowns this year.
For who?
The Incarnate Word quarterback, Division I.
Incarnate Word?
Yeah, it's FCS. But RG3 was like adamant about he should be a Heisman finalist. I mean, I'm
That's
just
a stretch.
No,
Yeah.
I'm just 50 touchdowns though.
I mean, that's
crazy.
legit.
That's
Nah,
crazy. Dude.
I knew they weren't gonna give it to Blake Corum
Yeah.
because he, like right now, his stats is similar to what Kenneth Walker's was last
Agreed.
year, and Kenneth Walker didn't make it last
Agreed.
year. Not saying that.
No,
Those stats. Like I feel like if he'd have played against Ohio State and he'd have got those 200 yards that Donovan Edwards had,
Yeah.
and he played against Purdue and got those.
Then the
150
argument would be
yards,
much more
then he'd
convincing.
have been
Yeah.
he'd have been a finalist to me. But like right
Agreed.
now, his stats is identical to what Kenneth Walker's was, and he didn't get in. And Kenneth Walker had a better year than Blake Corum, if you ask me.
I would agree.
So
I would 100% agree. Now, another big reason that he might not be winning the award is because the award actually has a new trophy that we
that
can take a
real?
look at here. This is breaking news. It's not real. It's not
thank
real.
you.
This is breaking
God.
news that the Heisman Trust has announced a new trophy will be awarded to the winners moving forward, replacing the iconic Heisman pose to more accurately reflect the players eligible for the selection.
I saw the blue check mark. I was like, wait. It looked like some satire in there, some sarcasm.
Oh,
for
100%
sure.
there is.
But I
But
just had
that's
to make
just,
sure.
just poking fun at the fact that obviously all of the finalists this year and many in the past have come from the quarterback position, and that kind of seems like that's the only position that you can really win the award from. Like you had already said, like you thought Willie Anderson should be a finalist this year. People have made the argument in the past that even running backs and wide receivers have been kind of cast aside for this award, especially defensive side players in the ball. Woodson, I believe, was the only defensive Heisman winner, correct? So obviously that has not happened more than once, and that was just kind of an anomaly season that he said that is unprecedented. So what does the future of this award look like? I think it just keeps trending towards quarterbacks.
it's messed up because it's like it shouldn't be that way.
It shouldn't. I 100% agree it shouldn't, but
Like, you got
do we think
players-
that's what's going to happen?
Yeah, of course, because it's just an offensive-driven game.
Yep.
You're just gonna space the ball out and throw the ball all around the yard, and it's not really feasible for a defensive player to try to like keep up with that.
Yeah,
Like,
I mean,
it's
you have to
no
have,
way
you have to
Will
jump out
Anderson
of the
is
session.
not a Heisman finalist.
He's the best. He's
He
the
is
best.
by
he's
far
the best
and
football
away
player in the
the
country.
best football player in America.
It's not even close. It's not even close, dude. I really, 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 really want him to be in the Bears next year.
Like, it's not even
You can
close.
build your defense around him.
Yeah.
He is like
agree.
Micah Parsons.
Yeah.
He's literally Micah Parsons.
Like that same type of impact.
That's him.
Yeah.
Like, not saying like, oh, he's him. Like, I'm saying like that's
I
who he
need him,
is.
dude. Oh, I need Will
We've got a
Anderson.
good stat for you here about one of our Heisman finalists. That's Stetson Bennett. And when you look at this graphic, very funny telling of the age of Stetson Bennett. You look at 2016, Lamar Jackson wins the Heisman Trophy. 2018, Kyler Murray wins it. 2019, Joe Burrow wins it. 2022, he's named a Heisman finalist. All of these quarterbacks are 25 years old. It's just such an insane. Obviously, the COVID year comes into play there, and other things, and eligibility, and Stetson Bennett's story about he didn't see the field right away, obviously. But really, this stat is just ridiculous. That he's 25
it's
and he's Heisman
absurd.
finalist.
So wait, does that mean Lamar won when he was 19? Is that what that is? That is my math wrong on that or like?
Yeah, I believe you're
He
100%
must have been 19
correct
or
on that.
20.
Yeah,
Yeah, one of the
exactly. I
other,
think he
so.
was probably right on the cusp of being 20 years old,
That-
probably about 19.
Is
True sophomore.
crazy.
Yeah,
Yeah, he was 19.
Yeah.
That's
I think you're right.
Crazy.
I mean, it's insane, dude. It's really insane. So
Wow.
there you have that. So I wanted to leave you guys on that one. I thought that was a
That
pretty cool
is
stat.
something else, man.
Yeah.
I was walking in here thinking I was just gonna see a couple clips, whatever. I was not expecting to see that stat. I was not
Stat
expecting
that?
to see that. Yeah, right.
That's all we had for today, fellas. That was a good one. I like the Heisman. The Heisman talk was good.
Yeah, we had a couple bumps in the road here on our way to the
Hey,
conclusion,
but it's just about where you finish, right?
Yeah,
I
exactly.
thought it was a
Yeah.
pretty small episode.
I thought it was pretty good.
Not really a whole lot too much going on.
Pretty smooth.
What-
Pretty smooth.